There's this interesting passage in the book of Luke in chapter 12 where it's called the parable of the rich fool. I have been fascinated by this parable for years and years. And it's interesting because Jesus tells a story about a rich man, and that's important because it starts telling us that this person is already wealthy. And then in the middle of that wealth, they have a bumper crop, right? They have a lot more. So they were wealthy and they got even more wealthy. And then it has this peculiar phrase where it says that the man says to himself. That phrase in the ancient world, in the ancient Near Eastern world where Jesus was speaking, would have been like nails on a chalkboard. In that part of the world, there was this practice of the elders sitting at the city gates. Like when you got to the age where you could not be a physical laborer anymore, you would go and you would sit at the city gate. And when people had a decision to make, an important decision to make, they would go to the elders at the city gate. They would ask them what they thought that they should do. It was seen as a gift to be able to engage with the elders at the city gate. It was such a gift that if there was some piece of information that would make the decision seem simple, you were supposed to withhold it from that conversation so that you wouldn't miss out on spending time with the elders at the city gate. So this man is already wealthy, has a huge increase, and he has to decide what to do about it. But instead of going to the elders at the city gate, it says that he says to himself. It's interesting, sometimes wealth can allow us to buy a bubble that we live in, where we are in an echo chamber, and because we are self-sufficient, we don't have to engage with other people and hear other people's opinions and insights. That is not the way of Christianity. It's not the way of Jesus. What we see in the scriptures is this call into community, this call into relationship, and this pushing back whenever there is a moment where people are somehow seeming to be isolated. In this passage, the man decides, instead of giving his excess to the poor, instead of using it to influence the people outside of him, instead he just builds a bigger barn. He gets a better bank account to hold all of his wealth. And then it says, God comes to him and says, look, your life is going to be demanded of you tonight. And now who will enjoy all of this wealth that you have put in this barn? And the pushback from God is saying, you had an opportunity. You had a chance to use your life and your wealth for something important. And instead, you chose to just keep it stored up. Now you're going to die and nobody's left around you. You've bought this bubble. You've isolated yourself. I think for us, the message, the challenge today is twofold. One, in your life, when you're making decisions, who is it that you're asking for help, for insight, for partnership in thinking? God calls us to be in community because, to be honest, decisions are often made best in community and collaboration with other people. And then second, you have a limited amount of resources, time and energy and money. And maybe you are blessed with a lot of health. Maybe you're blessed with a lot of wealth. Whatever you have, the question is, how are you using it to improve the world? Are you asking other people to help you figure out how you take your life and use your life to impact the world in a positive way? Or are you like the rich fool in this passage, just finding different ways to build bigger barns so that you can store that self up for you, only to find that life isn't forever? One day you will be gone, and the question is, what will you have done with what you have? I hope this will help you think and process and listen to the voice of God speaking to you today.